Hey, this is Make and Watch. My name is Tommy Skaggs. Today we're going to be looking at the book Shut Up and Shoot, the documentary guide by Anthony Q. Artis. And this is a fantastic book. I bought this book almost 10 years ago, and it's been a great resource just in filmmaking in general. I think if you're a brand new filmmaker, if you are a seasoned veteran, this is going to be something that you maybe find interesting. The one thing I want to point out here is this is a documentary guide. And so, like, this would be if you're ever thinking about filming a documentary style film, this is going to be something that will cover everything that you're going to need from beginning to end, even before you start turning on the camera. It's going to say, is this the right project for you? And it's going to take you through the whole process, all the way through taking it to film festivals and marketing the movie. So this is really a Swiss Army knife. It's a beautiful book. I do want to point out that this is the first edition of the book that came out in 2008, and there's a brand new version of the book that came out in 2014. So a lot of the things that it talks about in here is a little bit dated because it's a few years older. 2008 to 2014, a lot changed in regards to technology and software programs and websites used. But so I would definitely recommend buying the new version of the book, but this is the one that I've been using, and I love this version. So I want to do a quick review of this, show you what this book is, and have a couple takeaways of what you can use in your films as well. And one of the reasons why you should buy this and add it to your collection. One of the things off the bat that I see is that this is just a beautiful book. I mean, it's a pretty, it's not too thick, it's not too overbearing. And as we open it up, what I want you to focus on is look at all the cool illustrations and cool photos that we have. I've bookmarked a couple things that I really wanted to show off, but once again, this book is just filled with a ton of goodies. The first thing I want to go over is the Rocky. Think Rocky before you shoot. So, is it relevant? Is it original? What's your commitment to it? Do you have the cash? And what's your access to this world that you want to show? So, like, these are something that, like, this book does a really great job of being practical before you even pick up the video camera. So, this is things like this is just a practical knowledge that I really appreciate. Next, I mean, like I said, practicality. There's a whole section of how not to get your camera jacked. And so it just goes over some really interesting tips of probably some lessons learned on the road. Next, shooting in the hood. This was also something that's really interesting, where even though this is something for a specific type of documentary, you can think of these examples for any type of shot that you want to be doing. Research the area, get a ambassador, be street smart, show respect. Bottom line there. We gotta fast forward a little bit here. Even this book even goes through how to properly take cables. So like this is something that you're going to need to know if you're doing any type of shoot. So even like I said, even though this was a specifically meant to be a documentary film, these are things like setting up shots here. These are all things that are going to be very important on any set that you're going to be working on. And one of the things that I hope they update in the most recent version is there's a whole section on the type of aspect ratios, whether 4:3, this is like the old TV versus 16:9. And so this is called standard video and widescreen video. Nowadays, like I don't know if anybody would ever shoot in 4:3 for any reason. So I'm assuming that in the 2014 remake of this book, sections like this and a lot of the equipment they talk about in this book aren't going to be there. So there's definitely some dated materials in this 2008 version. And then when we get into like some nitty gritty, it talks about how to fix the different types of people's skins and using light to make it nicer. So this was something that I found that was really interesting, and it shows just how to do some easy powder makeup just to make them show a little nicer. And finally, like even though this isn't about the actual like technicalities of it, there's a lot of great ways of how to treat your subjects and the people that you're working with. Asking open-ended questions rather than leading questions, and just trying to get the most out of your subjects as possible. Yeah, and then once again, the book ends with taking your project to different festivals. Highly recommend this book. All right, to sum up, I'm going to tell you this is going to be something you're going to want to have in your toolkit. If I wish they had something for a similar thing for maybe like indie filmmakers, or if you're trying to go for another type of movie, but this one is specifically documentary. So if no question, if you're going to be shooting a documentary, this is going to be something that I would highly recommend. And if you're just a new filmmaker, it has a lot of key tips that will help you out along the way. So thank you for listening to the review, and look forward to seeing you in the future.